What is going on, guys? This is Jack, coach of your Wenatchee Wildfits, bringing you our week 3 team builder. This week we're fighting Lindy and her turned up Tyrantrums. It has been a hot second since we fought Lindy. I believe it's been season 3 when she was in the season last. Back in season 3, which is also our first season, we were in the same division together, and we are in a division with her again. So that's pretty exciting. So this is the first time we'll get to fight her, and I think we fight her again in a couple weeks. But going over her team real quick, she has Mega Gardevoir, which she had last time she played in the LSBA. Very potent, especially offensive threat, base 100 speed. I forget its special attack stat, but it's like 130, 140-ish, somewhere along that high tier. She also has another fairy type in Alolan Ninetales, Melodic, Arcanine, Lucario, Umbreon, Cloyster, Marowak, Tyrantrums, Skuntank, and Alolan Sandslash. So she has a very offensive team with some really solid defensive mons to really round that out with in Umbreon, Melodic, and Arcanine if she decides to run like a Flash Fire or Intimidate defensive Arcanine. But going over her team, so I'm definitely expecting the Umbreon because the only, obviously I have Mega Altaria, which does hit it, but other than that, I mean, the only thing that hits it super effectively for stab at least is Scrafty. Scrafty only has base 90 offensive, physical offensive stat. So it doesn't hit super hard without like at least one or two bulk ups or dragon dances. So Umbreon takes hits from most of my team pretty well. Sorry, I totally forgot about Scissor, which I don't know why it's right in front of me on this screen here. But other than Scissor, Altaria, and Scrafty, kind of, Umbreon kind of switches in on my entire team and just takes hits. And then obviously passes wishes, heal bells, foul plays, that kind of stuff. I'm also expecting the Melodic. I'm expecting both Gardevoir and Ninetales. Uh, I'm expecting at least one of them to show up, but I would not be surprised if she brings both of them. However, she also has to know that Scizor pretty much OHKOs both of them right off the bat. So if she does bring both Mega Gardevoir and Ninetales, I'm expecting possibly a physically defensive Arcanine with Intimidate, or a really physically defensive Umbreon or Melodic. Tyrantrum is a potential bring. Alolan Sandslash if she brings the Ninetales, because obviously it does get that Slush Rush ability, boosting its speed times 2. Lucario is really nice. I mean, honestly, her entire team is really solid. Her 2Z users are Cloyster and Tyrantrum, both of which can run a Z move. However, Cloyster generally likes to run a white herb so it can set up those shell smashes. However, it has such a high defensive stat and a low special defensive stat that the white herb restoring those after the shell smash doesn't really make a huge difference. But that's just a really common set. But yeah, so going into my team, obviously, as you see here, I'm bringing Scizor this week with a Life Orb, Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Superpower, and Knockoff. Bullet Punch, obviously, to hit Gardevoir and Ninetales, also hits Tyrantrum, and also hits most of his unresisted mons, so everything except for Melodic, Arcanine, Lucario, and Marowak really hard as well. Your turn just to get the momentum. Superpower for Umbreon, Sandslash, Tyrantrum, potentially, and the Lucario. And then Knockoff just in case I predict a switch, and also for the Alolan Marowak. Adamant and running enough speed EVs here, I believe, to these speed EVs are to outspeed a no or a Melodic with like 4 speed EVs or something in case she decides to like speed creep a little bit, which I'd be very surprised. But still, they're for insurance, so I can get a very safe U-turn out on the Melodic, so I don't have to risk like Skull Burns or anything like that. Yeah, so pretty standard scissor set, Adamant, max attack, and then the rest into HP. Next one we're bringing here is the Dodrio holding the Fightinium Z. with Jump Kick, Brave Bird, Return, and Swords Dance. So I'm going back and forth between the Dodrio. Before we are fighting tomorrow, I'm recording this on Friday. And before tomorrow, I might decide to switch Dodrio out for Nidoqueen, just because both of them have really solid neutral coverage. Jump Kick plus Brave Burn hits basically her entire team neutrally. Then I have the return there just in case I don't want to take the recoil damage from Brave Bird. And then the fighting AMZ destroys stuff like Umbreon, Sandslash, Cloyster, Lucario, and then Jolly back speed to speed tie with the Alolan Ninetales, and then also outspeed the entire rest of our team minus Scarfers and Sandslash under Hail. But like I said, I might switch it out for Nidoqueen because Nidoqueen also with Earth Power and Sludge Wave also hits her entire team neutrally. However, the problem with Nidoqueen is that it doesn't hit Umbreon really hard if she decides to bring especially defensive Umbreon. However, on the flip side of that, Nidoqueen can also bring Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes, which will be really helpful in wearing down Umbreon and Melodic, as well as any other defensive mons on her team, as well as obviously Stealth Rocks doing the damage to Ninetales, Arcanine, and stuff like that. So yeah, I might make that switch sometime before Battle next season. I'm still kind of going back and forth on it, but for right now, I'm going with a Dodrio here. Next one I have is Scrafty holding the Rocky Helmet with Intimidate, Drain Punch, Knockoff, Fake Out, and Taunt. I believe I have these EVs for a reason. Oh, these EVs are so I can take Life Orb Close Combat after an Intimidate from Lucario and an Aura Sphere from a special Lucario. And then I believe it's also so I can live something else as well. But then obviously get the Rocky Helmet chip on that. And then after it takes a Life Orb and the minus defense stat from the Close Combat, Drain Punch knocks out the Lucario in return. And then Fake Out just for general chip and Knockoff to get rid of items, as well as hitting the Alolan Marowak. And then Taunts there just because to potentially stop Umbreon from like Toxicking me or Melodic Toxic me, setting up Stealth Rock, stuff like that. Next one we have is the Rotom Heat holding leftovers, Defog, Volt Switch, Overheat, and Pain Split, and max specially defensive set. No speedy defenses. I might actually, that I'm looking at it, might put in a couple speed EVs just in case she tries to speed creep my Rotom with the Melodic, so I can get the safe Volt Switch out on that without having to risk a Scald. But this is mostly to take hits from the Ninetales and the Mega Gardevoir. Obviously, the defog is to get rid of Aurora Veils when she tries to set those up, but otherwise get chip damage, keep rocks off my side in the field, the standard Rotom Heat stuff that you guys see pretty much every week. And then we are bringing back Dragon Dancing Mega Altaria. The speed EVs are to outspeed Tyrantrum, so if she doesn't so at +1 we outspeed Scarf Tyrantrum, or neutrally we outspeed a regular Tyrantrum. Then max attack and rest into HP EVs. Basically same exact set as last week with slightly more speed in order to get that Tyrantrum creep. And then our last mon we have is the Vaporeon holding leftovers, Water Absorb. Mixed defensive. This is to... It's been a hot second since I made this set, so this is in order to live something. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. It was to live a Life Orb Wild Charge from Arcanine, and then after the recoil and Life Orb damage it takes from the Wild Charge, Scald knocks it out, assuming it's fully offensive with no HP or special defense investment. So that's what the physical defensives are there for, and then the rest and Calm into special defense. So yeah, that's our team this week, going a bit more on the offensive with Scizor getting some nice chip damage, and then of course Rotom Heat and Vaporeon, as well as Scrafty getting getting the bulky switch-ins, chip damage from there, and then getting the final sweep with either Dodrio / Nidoqueen or Altaria. Probably Altaria for the late game sweep. Looking at her team, I think Altaria just sweeps through her team. If I get a Dragon Dance up, Gardevoir doesn't want to take a hit, Ninetales doesn't want to take a hit. Melodic can take a hit, can fire back with an Ice Beam. Lucario cannot take a hit. Arcanine, if it's not Intimidate, cannot take, or doesn't take a +1 Earthquake very well. And doesn't really have anything for return. Resist Flare Blitz, Close Combat, and Wild Charge. So all it can really do to us is Will-O-Wisp us. Umbreon cannot take a return. Cloyster has really nice Fizz defense. And we can't take really an Icicle Spear in return, so we do want some chip damage on the Cloyster if we see that. Marowak can take an Earthquake, Tyrantrum cannot take a return, it's going to take, and Slash cannot take Earthquakes either. So yeah, that's our team this week. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and like I said, before the match tomorrow, I'll briefly go over if I have switched the Dodrio out, but then we will see you at the battle tomorrow. Bye, guys.